we go. Hey, Lab Coat Agents, it's Tristan, and I've got Shon with me again. Another random acts of coaching. We just talked to him last week.
I know, right?
Because of the schedule, we get to talk to him again.
I love it. Love it.
And, this time he's going to be focusing on objections. I think this, to me, this is where everything stems from, Shon, because that fear of where agents look at something and say, well, you know what, that is just not for me. I think if they start knowing what to say, then they feel a lot more comfortable to actually start going in that direction. What do you think?
Kevin, welcome.
Hello, Shon. How are you, sir?
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thank you. Good to see your face.
Good to see you too.
Well, Tristan, you're exactly right, man. I think really there's three metrics that we as realtors should really be focused on. I mean, first, it's knowing what to say. Second, how to say it. And third, to say it to enough people. Because everything else, the natural byproduct is a increase in productivity when you're talking to more people. And let's face it, I mean, it's a numbers game, right? Mm-hmm. Look at it like this. Even a dentist could identify a geographic territory, start dialing in by phone into that geographic territory, and eventually find somebody who wants a root canal, right? I mean,
true.
Thank God we're not selling root canals, right? We're selling houses. Yet, where the rubber meets the road is in the conversation. This always has been, it is today, and it always will be in a relationship-driven business. So, meaning I've never really sold a house, closed escrow without actually having a conversation with the client, right? I mean, sure, we can, in fact, get properties into escrow without having conversations, yet by and large, they're few and far between. Yet the conversation is really where it happens. And I think a realtor who has not developed their skill set around handling objections, well, they're probably going to lose more oftentimes than succeed. I think it's those realtors who invest the time to practice their rebuttal strategies, to practice the scripting, and can really understand the psychology of selling and handling objections. Those are the realtors that are going to get on in this game. They're going to win more often. You guys agree?
100%.
Right.
What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I agree 100%. And the power of words, right? Like using the right wording is so important. And also tonality, how you use the words and your tone and and if you're face-to-face, your body language. Like we do a lot of prospecting on the phone. So even when I'm prospecting on the phone, I'm using like body language. I'm doing things that I would normally be doing when I'm face-to-face with someone, because I feel like it does come across. And tonality is so important in our messaging and also the power of words. So I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, good. So let's talk about that just for a second. Tonality, it actually represents 38% of your ability to connect with somebody. 55% of your ability to connect is based on your body language and how you use your facial expressions and things like that. And 7% is the words that we use. Yet I personally place an extreme emphasis on the words we use, because words, they carry and create energy. Yes. And let's face it, if one sporting team is 7% better than the other sporting team, or if one race car is 7% faster than the other race car, well, they're going to win every single time, right? So focusing in on the words that we use, like, have you ever thought about where this word listing comes from?
No, I actually never did.
No, seriously, it comes from
You listed
way back, like in the homesteading days, where they had the country store, which was kind of the place that people would congregate and meet people and all of that. It was kind of the hub of this little town, was the country store, and they had this book of list. It was the list book. So if you had something to sell, whether it be a horse, a carriage, a plow, or a house or a ranch, right, you would list it in the list book. And that terminology has stuck around forever. So like the words listing agent, have you ever really thought about that? Why not be something a little bit unique, something special, and be the marketing realtor?
I like that.
It's a little bit of a different spin, and it raises the professionalism, I believe, in our industry. Yeah. So a whole bunch of different words. That's a totally different webinar. Yet I've studied this for a very long time and spoke with some really smart people who have helped educate me as to what words we should use. In fact, maybe a different webinar would be around the language of influence, to talk through things like modal operators, embedded commands, analogical markings, things like adverb, temporal, automatic, and awareness presupposition language patterns. maybe like cause and effect language patterns, both direct and implied, as well as maybe pacing and leading strategies on a listing presentation or a buyer consultation that will improve your conversion rates and your influence exponentially with each of your clients. Now, guys, politicians use these language patterns based in neurolinguistic programming to bend the senses. And, I've studied this for a good number of years, and I've written all the scripts, all the dialogues that involve these language patterns that get you what you want when you want it. And almost automatically, almost magically increases your influence, not only with your clients, your prospects, yet with your team, with your friends, your family. It just increases influence across the board. So that's a different seminar, yet just thought I'd throw it out to you guys. What do you think?
I think it's great, and I know it's a different seminar, but maybe we don't have to talk about it now, but I would love to hear some examples on that. Maybe, I don't know if you want to do it now or later. I don't want to get in the way of anything, but one thing that I know we deal with all the time, because we're prospecting again, we're following up with people that are generating leads. We don't necessarily contact people on the first try, so we have to make multiple attempts. After a while, we're human, right? So we feel like, man, I've called this person 6 times. They said they'd answer at 4 p.m. yesterday. They didn't get back to me. So what I've seen with working with agents on our team a lot of times is like, we have that human instinct where we get a little frustrated, and we almost have like this blaming kind of approach when we finally get a hold of them, or when we send a follow-up email like, hey, I tried calling you 5 times and you never got back to me, right? So I think that, to me, is not the way to go, right? You don't want to be accusationary or sound like with an accusing type of tone, like, I called you, you didn't get back to me. So what do you do in that situation when you've tried to call someone or reach out to someone multiple times, they haven't responded? My thought on that is, I'm going to maintain a smile on my face. I'm always going to be positive. I'm always going to come across as like, even though you just slap me in the face like I'm the happiest guy in the world. What do you think about that?
Well, I think you're absolutely right that, they're going to feel bad all on their own, especially if you've left 6, 7, 8 messages for this person. When you finally do get a hold of them, they're going to say, oh, I'm so sorry. I did get your messages. I've just been so busy. I haven't had time to call you back. See, you almost want them to feel bad without making them feel bad. What has happened through the past events, it's inspired that feeling of guilt. And frankly, we can leverage that to get what we want when we want it, right?
Right. Leveraging guilt. I love that.
Yeah, right. So nevertheless, before we kind of dive into objection handling, I do want to posture a little bit. I want to share some other things with you guys. And then we're going to get into the 9 most common buyer objections you're going to hear. We're going to get into the 5 most common expired listing objections you're going to hear. And we're going to get into the 5 most common listing presentations that you're going to hear. Yet before we kind of dive in, let me just ask, and I asked this same question last week, when is the best time to handle an objection? Talk to me.
The best time to handle an objection is when the objection occurs.
No, wrong.
I get it. At least I tried. What is it? Let's hear you. Let's hear you. What's your answer, Tristan?
I got it right last time, so I'm just going to let Shon answer it.
Peter?
It's it's before the objection really becomes.
Oh man, okay, should have known that.
When we can set and manage the appropriate expectations with each and every one of our prospects and our clients to really get them to act appropriately. Guys, let's face it. I mean, they buy and sell real estate once on average every 8 years, and yet they come in and try and tell us how to do our job. See, I think it's appropriate for us to systematically set and manage the appropriate expectations throughout the relationship. When we do this and we do it effectively, well, the buyer prospects, the seller prospects, well, they comply. They fall in line because we set these expectations in a way that it is a benefit to them, not to us, right? We can't kick the side of a wood burning stove and say, hey, give me heat and I'll give you wood. We've got to put the wood in first, right? We've got to, in essence, educate them. And the easiest way to build trust with people, well, it's through education. See, when you teach them something, well, then they almost automatically trust you, and we can leverage that trust to lead to a professional relationship, right? So by educating them up front, by handling those objections before they become objections, guys, we're going to be definitely money ahead. So with that said, I'm going to dive in. I want to just share my screen a little bit and kind of a shameless plug real fast for our SOAR program. Now, SOAR is an acronym. It stands for Success Other Agents Realize. It's based in the proven best practices as well as the methodology and modalities of the top producing, what I call icons of our industry. Guys, every month I get the opportunity to interview one of these rock stars, these icons. I fly out to their office, I interview them, their people, their team, right? I look at their models, their systems, I look through their technology. What are they leveraging in terms of technology to really increase their production, their profit? And then we get to share it with all of our clients. Now, we've packaged everything that we've learned, plus, my past experience of selling over 4,000 homes, over $1 billion in sales volume. We packaged all of that proven best practices into this program we call SOAR. Now, SOAR is 3.5 days of presentation spread out over a 28-day period. Because, frankly, between just you and me, I really don't like seminars. In fact, we registered the domain seminot.com because SOAR is not a seminar. Now, the reason I don't like doing seminars, frankly, is I know that I'm going to take the stage, and whether it's for 15 minutes or an hour and a half or 2 hours, I know that the people are going to write down and take some great notes with every intention of going back to the office to implement and deploy that within their business model to increase their production, their profit. And we know it would work, yet they get back to their office, and Tristan, what happens?
At that point, they don't do anything, dude.
Right. But we already know that life happens, right? You get busy, you get sidetracked, you get distracted with buyers and sellers. I mean, you got to make money. So that awesome information, those great notes that you wrote down that you intended to implement, well, they end up on a shelf, and you got a really smart freaking shelf, right? Rather, I don't like seminars for that reason and that reason only. However, the reason that we spread out SOAR over 28 days, over 3.5 days of presentation, is because we have assignments between sessions. We have a stall out system if you don't do the assignments, and you could literally get kicked out of the class. So it's a high level of accountability that requires you to implement. Now, the difference between extraordinary success, gang, and average or even below average results in our industry, to me, it's just merely speed of implementation. So you'll be given assignments throughout this program. And by the way, the average agent does 8 new contracts in just 28 days. That includes buyer agencies, contracts, and properties placed under contract. So, we already know that the average agent out there does about 6.2 transactions per year. Those that are in production, that is. So they're having a great year in 28 days. It's a powerful program. It's coming to a city near you. In fact, we've got 9 facilitators of this program that are now blasting across the country. I bring it up so that when you see SOAR, you've got some awareness to it, that you understand what it's about. See, it's an acronym, as I said. Success other agents realize. And I want to talk a little bit about this word success, as I have on a couple of past webinars. Right? If you had the time and you took the time and you asked 1,000 people, what is your definition of that word? Success. Well, you'd probably get around 1,000 different answers. So I went to Webster's. I just looked up the word, and the definition is super simple. Success is getting what you want. Not what somebody else wants, it's what you want. So instinctively, we all must recognize that in order to be successful, we've got to know something, right? And that's what we want, right? Yet a lot of people, they take an average approach to identifying what they want, and even worse, an average approach on how to get it. Now, that's not today's webinar, so stay tuned, okay? You see, a lot of people think that the diagram on the left, they think that's what success looks like, right? It just shoots out of a cannon, and it's an upward trajectory all the time. But I'm here to tell you, based on past experience and the analysis of our industry, the one on the right is what it really looks like, right? I mean, success is a mess. There's no doubt about that. So we fail our way forward. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, and that's all good. Yet the smart people, they're going to learn from their own mistakes, right? The smarter person's going to learn from the mistakes of others. And the smartest people of all, well, they learn from the successes of other people. Now, in saying so, success leaves clues, right? So this is an example of some of the past icons. Like I said, every month we identify one top performer, like Brian North. I mean, solid up and comer out of Phoenix, Arizona. He's closing well over 400 transactions per year. We got Chris Waters locally here in my hometown of Austin, Texas, closing over 1,600 transactions. Like Mark Spain, over 3,100 transactions per year, right? So the bottom line is that anybody who's reached the top of a mountain, they didn't just fall down there, right? And yet these people have paved the path. We can learn from the missteps that they've taken to reach iconic status. We can also learn from the successes that they've had in growing their organizations to such a high level of production. Now, coming up, in fact, on August 10th, this Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern is our next Icon of the Month webinar. Now, again, this is complimentary. It's absolutely free for you to attend. We're bringing Kyle Whistle in from San Diego. By the way, over 200 million in total sales volume year after year. He's ranked the #1 team in San Diego County, 4th year in a row. Now, it's a highly competitive market, right, Tristan?
Huge, dude, huge.
Huge. And he's been the #1 agent in terms of production for the last 4 years in a row. He's ranked number 76, according to the Wall Street Journal top sellers list. The #1 video influencer. And by the way, we're going to do a deep dive into increasing your influence by leveraging video content on social media. 374 transactions in San Diego County last year. That's just amazing. Again, over 200 million in sales volume. Again, August 10th. Gang, to get registered for that, just go to iconcoachinre.com. That's iconcoachinre.com. Tristan, if you wouldn't mind, type that into the chat section. So that just go there right now and go ahead and get registered.
Iconcoachinre.com, right?
You got it, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I want to walk you through this model toward mastery and recognize that each day we're focused on strengthening our foundation. The bottom line is, guys, we rent our success in this industry every day, and we must pay that rent every single day. And those that really focus in on foundation are improving their state of being. It's essentially your foundation is how you show up to the world, how you show up to the market. There's 4 things that impact your foundation. The first is your knowledge. We're going to be diving into that today. I'm going to share with you some proven best practice around objection handling, some scripts, some dialogues, and just some basic philosophies around the psychology of handling objections. You'll also, the second category of the 4 as it relates to foundation. So first, your knowledge. Second, your skills. So in essence, the first is knowing what to say, right? The second is knowing how to say it. And then the third area of foundation is your mindset. Now, mindset combined with the 4th phase, which is habits, leads to that 3rd metric that we want to track, right? So knowing what to say, knowing how to say it, and saying it to enough people. Now, I think the 4th of the 4 that I mentioned, so it's knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits. I think habits is the most important. So F.M. Alexander said, people don't decide their future, they decide their habits. Their habits then decide their future. I want to digress. I want to share a quick story with you about habit formation. In fact, it was probably one of the greatest ahas I've ever had in my life. And I told this story to a coaching client this morning just because, again, the greatest aha I've ever had in my life. See, my wife and I are high school sweethearts. In fact, we met in the 7th grade, believe it or not. We started dating when we were 16. We were married at age 21, had our first child at 28. Yet at this time in our life, we're 17 years old. We decided we're going to go see a movie, okay? And we invited her older sister. She's 4 years older, and her sister's new boyfriend. We hadn't met this guy yet. Yet I agreed I would drive. So I pull up to pick them up. And I got to tell you guys, this dude came out of the house and this guy was built. I mean, he's got muscles on muscles, right? I mean, just huge, like his biceps the size of my thighs. I'm 17 years old and I want to look like this guy. So I got to know him a little bit. His name's Paul. I said, hey, Paul, how often do you go to the gym? I'm just curious. He said, well, every day. Every day. Wow. I said, how long do you spend at the gym? And he said, well, at least 2 hours every day. I said, 2 hours every day, Paul. I said, I can't remember my exact words. Something like, how do you find the motivation? How do you find the discipline to go to the gym 2 hours every day? I mean, frankly, I'm 17 years old. I'm having a hard time getting there, 2-3 times a week, let alone every day for 2 hours. How do you do that? And guys, he looked at me like it was crazy. And this was the aha moment. He said, Shon, it's just something I do. So you get the point, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is who Paul is. This is what Paul does. And guess what, guys? Paul gets to look the way Paul looks. Yet, how about you? How about your business? What is that activity that if you just brought that activity to the point of automaticity, meaning this is who you are, this is what you do, then your business could look like that, right? Mm. So I think it's first, and this is what we really focus in on the SOAR program, is conscious awareness to the habits required for you to achieve the success that you want.
Conscious awareness. That's so key, man.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, and Tristan, if we had an honest moment right now, I mean, let's face it, consciously, we set goals, right? Consciously, we build business plans. Yet where do we generally form habits? Consciously, subconsciously? What are your thoughts?
I think it's definitely subconsciously.
There's no doubt about that. See, like something happens, right? We have a certain reaction, which then leads us to a certain result.
Right.
Now, by the time we're 20 years old, our mind has had so many exposures, gang, we're on autopilot. So the next time that something happens, we have the exact same reaction. In fact, we brought that reaction to the point of automaticity, and we get the same exact result. Now, Albert Einstein was kind enough to share the definition of insanity, right?
Yes.
The thing is, in order to get to better, guys, we've got to get to different. There's no doubt about that. Remember the diagram of what success really looks like. It's not straight up. No, it's a mess. You're going to bounce around left and right, up, down, until you finally do figure out what works and lean into it and apply additional resources and form the right habits around doing that activity on a consistent and repetitive basis.
Can I say something about habits real quick?
You got it.
So what I think when you get to a point where you've created a habit, whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, hopefully a good habit, we're going to talk about good habits here, is when it gets to a point where it takes little mental energy to perform the habit. For instance, like when you wake up in the morning every day, no matter what, like we brush our teeth, right? So we would take a shower or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It doesn't take a lot of energy for us to do that. No matter what, I'm gonna wake up in the morning, I'm gonna brush my teeth, or you're gonna take a shower, whatever that thing is that you do. It doesn't take a lot of energy. You just get up and you do it. It's instinctual. So it's the same thing with what you're talking about. You know, when whatever it is that we're doing, it's the consistency over time. And if you continue to do the same things over and over and over again, and you get up every day and you do those things, after a while, it doesn't take a lot of mental energy, or like you don't have to go through any kind of stress. It's just normal. It's an instinct. You get up, you go to your computer or whatever to get to the point where you want to, get to the point to what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I think the key to what you're saying, Kevin, is to first identify what activities are worth building habits around.
Right.
To bring conscious awareness to the activities that you want to own the habit. Now, Megan Oaten out of the University College of London in Australia, as well as Charles Duhigg, guys, they've done a ton of research around habit formation for all of us. And it used to be that it would take 21 days to form a habit, right?
Yeah.
And, if you bought into that, you would have applied 21 days and the habit wasn't to the point of automaticity, right? It required way too much discipline to sustain the habit because you're giving it a third of the time or less than a third of the time that's actually required. In fact, Megan's research, as well as Charles Duhigg's research, they debunked that theory of 21 days to own the habit. In fact, it takes 66 days on average to own the habit. On the low end, it was like 18 days. On the outside, it was 284 days. Yet the sweet spot, or the average of all of their test subjects, it was 66 days to own the habit. Now, I've developed this habit challenge tracker form. And if you guys want it, I'll go ahead and type my email address into the chat. In fact, I'll do it right now. Yet I've developed this habit tracker. And the habit tracker is 66 boxes. And I'll tell you what, that methodology came from Jerry Seinfeld, believe it or not, before he was the Jerry Seinfeld. In fact,
nice.
Yeah, he said, what I have to bring to the point of automaticity, or the habit I need to own, is to write one funny joke every day and memorize it. And when I do that, and he had this simple wall calendar up on his refrigerator, he said, every day I do that, I'm going to put a big red X right over that box of the day of the week, right? That I did it. And my only job, as he put it, was to maintain the chain. Now think about the compounding effects of doing the right thing right every single day. After 30 days, he had a full stand-up routine. After 3 years, you've got the Seinfeld show, right? It's the compounding effect of bringing the right activities to the point of automaticity, to the point of habit. Now, a lot of people, they rely on discipline. They blame themselves and they say, I just need more discipline. Now, the challenge with discipline is that discipline will let you down. I mean, we've all had that discipline day, right? Where you show up at the office, you show up early, you're focused. It's like everything's firing on all cylinders and you feel fantastic throughout the day and you're being productive. And then the next day though, it's completely opposite, right? It's You're lethargic. Nothing seems to be clicking, and it's just not jiving. And the reason is because discipline will let you down.
Because you haven't created a habit.
That's exactly right, Kevin. So the point is
It's not essential yet.
to first identify what do you need to build the habit around. Second, then apply selected discipline for 66 days. And you should own that habit, right? Now, it's different for everybody. Maybe you're just 35 days. Maybe you're 75 days. Yet the point is, by having the habit tracker, which has 66 boxes on it, where you articulate the habit you want to own at the top, and then every day that you do that, every business day of the week that you do that, you put an X on your calendar, on your tracker. Now, what happens to your energy? What happens to your momentum around owning this habit when you've strung like 12 X's in a row together? Talk to me.
Positive momentum. You're building.
And by the way, when you put that up in your office where everybody can see it, or you put it on your fridge at home where your whole family can see it, what happens to your energy and what happens to the accountability associated with owning that habit?
It becomes even more powerful.
No doubt about it. So guys, if you're interested, I typed in my email address there into the chat section. Just send me an email, just put habit tracker. And if we have time at the end of the call, I'll go ahead and pull it up on screen. You can even take a picture of it if you want. Yet foundation is a critical element to focus on in our business productivity, because the bottom line is your production, okay, your profit, well, it will be derived based on the amount you grow. I mean, it will grow to the extent that you personally grow. I mean, if you're not getting the result you want, ask yourself the question, because the quality of the question determines the quality of the answer. And the question I would ask is, who do I need to be in order to have what I desire to have? It's the old biblical law of be, do, have, right? A lot of people, they compare themselves to other people, which is where most of our limited beliefs come from, by the way. And they say, well, if I had what Tristan and Kevin had, well, then I could do what they do, and then I could be just like them, right? That's backward. It's not about have, do, be. In fact, if you think it's about have, do, be, you might as well just go home right now, sit on the couch and have a do, be, because that's about as far as that thinking is going to take you. You know, other people would say, well, if I do the work, well, then I'll have the income, and then I could be the person I want to be. And guys, that's also backward. It's about being first. It's about identifying who you need to be to get the result that you want. Begin being that person right now. Think like that person thinks, and then you'll do what that person does. And guys, you'll have anything you want to have, right? So by being intentional with our foundation, our personal growth, by working an annual growth plan, like the books you're going to read, the events you're going to attend, the certifications you're going to obtain, these are the things that will improve your state of being, right? Next, it's the pipeline phase of our business. This is your proactive lead generation and lead follow-up. Now, those with tenacity, you're going to break through into momentum. Now, momentum is a really fun place to be. It's also kind of a terrifying place to be because, you know, those that get to momentum, they think, oh, I've arrived, I'm in momentum, right? And what they ultimately do is they consider this an or instead of an and. Meaning I'm either in pipeline or I'm in momentum. And when they get to momentum, what they end up doing is they stop the lead generation. They stop the lead follow-up. They're sucked down in the weeds of the business. They're holding the hands of the client, and you know, they're babysitting the transactions. And as a result, they have a very cyclical business where January is terrible and February is awesome, yet March sucks and April's incredible, right? And it's because they stop the pipeline phase. They look at this as an or instead of an and. No, you're in foundation and a pipeline and momentum, right? Now, once we get to momentum, the idea is to get to leverage as quickly as we possibly can. Now, leverage also comes in 4 basic categories. It's leverage through models, leverage through systems. Now, system to me is a standardized process that produces a consistent and predictable result. It's also leveraged through technology, and then finally leveraged through people. Now, here's the good news, right? You can leverage the pipeline phase of your business. You can. In fact, I've helped many realtors do just that by identifying the right models, by identifying the right systems and the right people. We can leverage the pipeline phase of your business. In fact, one of my coaching clients has 9 OSAs on his team right now, one of which got him 11 listing appointments in a single week. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
And we've got a results-based compensation model, so no risk out of pocket for him. It's paid only on results. And I'd love to do another webinar, share with you guys what that compensation model looks like. Yet ultimately, as we master the leverage, we do ultimately reach this level of mastery. Now, I don't know, it's kind of elusive to me. It feels like the more I know, the less I know. I'm learning every single day. So, Lincoln said, I don't think much of a man who isn't a better person today than he was yesterday. We're constantly evolving. We're constantly improving. So my question for all of you would be, well, which phase are you in right now? And what are you going to do this week to get to the next phase in this model? I'll put it back up there. Again, which phase are you in? And what are you going to do this week to get to the next phase in this model? I mean, you're here. That's a good thing. That means that you're plussing yourself. You're growing yourself. Yet every dream comes with a price tag. We have this list of what we call icon maxims. This one happens to be my very favorite. And that is dream believer or dream buyer, you choose. And what I mean by that is, again, every dream, it comes with a price tag. And are you willing to pay the price? Pay the price in terms of practicing your skills to refine your objection handling skills. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Are you willing to pay the price to get on the phone and lead generate like never before? Are you willing to, as Kevin said at the beginning of this, call that prospect for the 7th time and approach it with a positive mental attitude to have a great conversation instead of being adversarial or making them feel bad, right? Just let them feel bad on their own and then leverage that guilt to get what you want when you want it. That's what I say. So your 20% job description, the price we get to pay is to give an inordinate amount of time to these 5 things, guys. These are the things that will move the needle for you and your organization, increasing your production and profit. So it's lead generate, lead follow-up, go on appointments, negotiate contracts, and practice your skill. Those that are achieving extraordinary results, guys, they've just figured out how to give those 5 things an inordinate amount of their time, because really it's about time on task over time, right? So I'd encourage you to focus on what you can control. So there's really 3 things, right? You can control what you say, you can control how you say it, and you can certainly control how many people you say it to. It's just 3 things. If you want to improve your results, get better at what you say, get better at how you say it, and then start saying it to more people. It's really that simple. Now, we're going to dive into handling objections. We're going to be talking through the 5 steps to handling objections first, and then we're going to get into some specific strategies, some specific scripting on how to get what you want when you want it. So the first is, I'd say ignore it if possible. Ignore it if possible. Now, there are certain objections you can't ignore, like that seller sitting across the table from you and says, yeah, Tristan, I'll list with you, yet you have to drop your fee by 2%. Now, you can't really ignore that, right? However, when you're showing a house and somebody points out something they dislike about the property, you don't have to handle every objection. Now, I got this at a fairly early age in my career at about 22, 23. I had a relocation buyer in town. I was showing her homes all day long, and she was giving objections. I've overcome her in every single one of them. The gal turned to me, and she was so sweet. She turned to me and said, Shon, you have an uncanny ability to point out the obvious. Yet, lesson learned, right? If you can, simply ignore the objection, right? Second, acknowledge the objection. The bottom line is people are not going to be open to what you have to say until they know that they've been heard. You know, Stephen Covey in the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he said, seek first to understand, then to be understood, right? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Third, you're going to isolate the objection. So what I mean by that is, other than just wanting a lower commission, is there any other reason you wouldn't list with me today? See, if we fail to isolate the objection game, what's on the heels of the previous objection? What do you think, Tristan?
I don't know. Kevin, what do you think?
If you isolate it, that's a tough one, man.
Yeah, so if you don't isolate it, what's on the heels of the previous objection is probably another objection. Agreed?
Yep.
Yep. When I say other than just wanting a lower fee, is there any other reason you wouldn't list with me today? So when you say, nope, that's the only reason, now see, I can handle the objection and ask again, right? So point number 4 is just that, handle the objection. Point number 5, ask again. Now, this is a mistake that a lot of realtors make, is that they fail to close, they fail to ask, they handle the objection, and then they just let it die. Guys, ask again. See, the answer is always no if you never ask, right? So that's, go ahead.
Can I put you on the spot real quick?
Do it.
Can we role play that last thing you just did?
Well, absolutely. In fact, I've got it set up to where we're going to do multiple role plays, if that's okay, Kevin.
Oh, okay, cool.
Set up to where it's in an organized fashion, and people can really get their mind around it instead of us bouncing around. Is that cool?
That's great.
Yeah, I love it, though. Absolutely. I think by experiencing that, hearing that, I think people then really do get their mind around it. So a lot of people, they fail to close, they fail to ask. Now, let's go through the stats of your competition just one more time. If you missed the webinar 2 sessions ago, I shared this, yet I just want to bring it to your conscious awareness, okay? First, 44% of agents, well, they never ask for an appointment. In essence, the buyer or the seller close them, right? Now, even a blind squirrel will find a nut from time to time, right? The buyer will call. Yeah, hey, I saw on Zillow this house at 123 Main Street. Can you show it to me, right? And they'll say yes, and the buyer closed them. Or maybe they get a referral from their aunt or uncle who their best friend needs to list their house for sale. So they get a listing appointment, and they don't even have to ask for it. It's just given to them, right? 22% of agents quit after they ask a single time during the same conversation. They just give up. Oh, they're not interested. That's okay, right? Rather, 14%, well, they quit after asking twice. Another 9% give up after 3 times. 3% quit after 4 times. So you add that up, guys, that's 92% of your competition. Well, they give up after they've asked 4 times for what they want. Now, in the No Bull Selling, the author indicates that 60% of buyers and seller prospects, by the way, well, they'll say yes after the 5th time you ask. So what that means to me is 8% of the agents are winding up with greater than 60% of the business, right? So let's dive into for sale by owners. I want to go through some objection handling and some psychology behind FSBOs.
Can I mention something real quick?
Do it, Kevin.
Sorry to keep interrupting you, but going back to that last slide real quick, the 92% number quit after 4 times. You know what that says to me?
Tell me.
One word: opportunity. That right there is a major opportunity for us. That line right there, you guys watching, like, that is huge. 92% of people that we're competing against quit after 4 tries. Like, that's crazy. I mean, it's like unbelievable. So that's a huge opportunity for us. So thanks so much for sharing that. I'm just going to take that down. To me, that's a huge,
so it's knowing what to say, knowing how to say it, and saying it to enough people. So when you get an objection, guys, what you've got to do is you've got to go through the 5 steps of handling the objection, ignore it if possible, right? Acknowledge it, isolate it, other than blank. Is there any other reason you wouldn't blank with me today? Handle the objection and ask again. So it's about reposturing and asking again for what you want. Now, the reposturing occurs during the handling of the objection. Yet the whole point is to ask again. Don't let it just fall on deaf ears. Ask again for what you want. So we're going to dive into FSBOs, right? And it's an acronym to me, FSBO. It's the fastest source of business opportunity. Guys, these people raised their hand. They've said, I want to sell this house, right? Now, they've identified a certain philosophy associated with this and how they're going to do it. And I think part of the problem is that most realtors that will call the for sale by owner, and let's face it, most won't, right? Yet of those that do, most of them, they're calling in an attempt to set a listing appointment with this for sale by owner. And guys, I'll tell you that is a really challenging thing to do. In fact, the only way you're going to get a listing appointment with a for sale by owner is if they've just said, okay, that's it. I've given enough time. I can't get what I want to do. I'm going to list with a realtor. And the first person that calls them, they set a quote unquote listing presentation. So I think we've got to shift our mindset here a little bit. It's not a listing presentation, it's actually a problem presentation. A problem presentation. See, they're never going to look for a solution to a problem until they know a problem exists, right? So
when you're talking with a person on the phone, do you say, I want to come over and do a problem presentation?
Here's my philosophy on this. And by the way, there's 1,000 different ways to be successful. I'm going to do this humbly, Kevin, recognizing there's your way of doing things, there's my way of doing things, and I believe the way, it doesn't really exist. However, I will share with you a proven best practice as it relates to for sale by owners to simply set an appointment. And that's the first goal, right? Remember, they're not going to list with you over the telephone. I think that you've got to get face-to-face. The magic is going to happen in the conversation. So a very simple script leveraging an NLP tactic that I've coined, pause momentum, meaning don't let them interrupt you. Get out of your mouth what you need to get out of your mouth succinctly, quickly, and then they'll understand why they should invest their time with you, right? So I can't just call up and say, hey, I'm a local real estate agent, and pause, because what are they going to do?
They're gonna be like, okay, and what do you want?
Yeah, or they're going to interrupt and say, I'm not working with realtors, right? Or something along those lines. So rather, it's about pause momentum. And I'll just share with you a strategy that I used that would get me the appointment almost every time.
I didn't know there was a word for that. I do that, but I just didn't know there was a word for it.
Yeah, I coined it only because I couldn't find the word for it either. I call it pause momentum. So if you just think, if you're the for sale by owner and you're trying to interrupt me, right? You've had 3 other calls from realtors today, and Shon calls you. And Shon says, hi, Mr. For Sale by Owner. This is Shon Kokoszka with XYZ Realty. Thank you for taking my call. Hey, I'm sure you've had several realtors calling to list your home. I'm not calling for that purpose. You see, I specialize in working with buyers in the area. In fact, about 75% of my time is spent working with buyers. So let me ask, once you sell your home all on your own, where do you plan on moving?
I plan on moving to Florida.
Oh, fantastic. And if they're moving to Florida, then I can certainly connect them with my network of agents, right? And I can offer a referral. However, if you're staying local, which is ideal, if you're staying local to your market area, then you say, well, fantastic. Tell me, are you looking to upsize? You're looking to downsize? Oh, good.
I'm looking to downsize.
So how many bedrooms would you like to have in your new home?
Well, right now we have 4, so I'd like to downsize to a 2-bedroom with less maintenance.
Oh, fantastic. I'll tell you what I've done. I just logged into our multiple listing service platform. In a matter of moments, I'll be able to tell you exactly how many properties are currently on the market that match exactly what you're looking for. So tell me, what part of town are you most interested in? How many garage do you want? I don't want to role play the whole thing out. Okay. That's okay, Kevin?
Yeah.
Because I got a ton of content and I've only got you guys for another 17 minutes, right? So, so I'm going to get that criteria. I'm going to then click the how many button, and I'm going to say, hey, great news, Mr. For Sale by Owner. There's 7 listings that match your unique criteria. I'll tell you what, let's do. I'd like to simply set an appointment to just stop by your house. I want to tour your property. I want to take some great notes on it. I want to compare what your home has to offer to all the buyers that I'm currently working with. And I'm going to bring this list of available properties with you. I'd like to just invest some time, review them with you, really learn about what you're looking for, because I have access to a ton of off-market listings so that I can get you into a home without all that crazy competition going on in today's world. So let me ask, Kevin, when is the best time for me to stop by? Is it just weekdays, weekends, or maybe even this afternoon?
Weekends, but this afternoon could possibly work.
Fantastic. All right, Kevin. So then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop by. I'm going to do just what I said. I'm going to tour the home. I'm going to take copious notes. I'm going to sit down with you at the table. I'm going to review the active listings that are currently on the market, ask you a bunch of questions. I'm going to establish a rapport based on your needs. Okay. Then I'm going to take you through the psychology of the sale. Now, follow me on this real quick. See, in that upper left quadrant is what we deem the positive present. Now, what I'm referencing here is the mindset of your prospect. In this case, it's a for sale by owner. They are in a positive present mindset, meaning I have got my plastic sign out in the front yard, right? I've got an ad on fsvo.com. I've got an ad on Craigslist. And what I'm doing today is going to lead me to this positive future that I seek. Right? Mm-hmm. My current course of actions is going to get me where I want to go. Now, the challenge with most realtors is they say, okay, I recognize you're selling your home on your own. They're in a positive present. Yet if you list with me, I'll be able to do it so much faster and get you so much more money than if you just did it by yourself. So it's positive present to positive future. And guys, that is not how you're going to convince a seller, a for sale by owner especially, to list with you. It just doesn't work that way. See, rather what we get to do is move them from a positive present mindset to a negative present mindset. And once we get them to a negative present, in essence, we open the window of doubt. So we get them to question, well, is what I'm doing actually going to get me to this positive future? I'm not really sure. So we've got to open the window of doubt. And once we get them to a negative present mindset, then we push them to a negative future mindset. Meaning if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm not going to get what I want. See, and once we get them to negative future, then now they're open to this positive future, which is working with you.
That makes a lot of sense.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through that psychology with the scripting. Now let's go back to our role play, okay? Mm-hmm. Where I toured your home. I took copious notes. I've reviewed the listings with you. I feel that we're getting along. I've mirrored and matched you. I've matched your rate of speech. I've matched your body language. we're in rapport. So now I'm going to share with you what I deem the single greatest advantage script. So, and I'm going to say, well, let me digress for a second. Mr. For Sale by Owner, tell me, what is the single greatest advantage of you selling your home all on your own instead of listing with a real estate agent? I'm curious.
Because I don't want to pay a commission.
Gotcha. Yet let me ask, what do you suppose is the single greatest advantage for a buyer to buy a for sale by owner instead of working with a realtor? I mean, isn't it to save the same commission that you potentially hope to save?
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe. So let me share with you. I just want to digress. I want to share with you the 4 different types of buyers. I think it's really going to help you.
Okay.
So the 4 different types, there's the first-time home buyer. The second is the motivated buyer. Then we have our investors. And finally, the looky-loos. So let's talk about that first-time home buyer. You know, frankly, they're a little bit skeptical. They're a little bit timid. They're anxious. I mean, this is the largest transaction of their life, right? They really want somebody to hold their hand through this process. I mean, they're afraid they're going to do something wrong. Mm-hmm. Let me ask, do you think that first-time home buyer, do you think they're going to go out all on their own, drive through neighborhoods, call on for sale by owner signs and visit them all by themselves and write no, of course. I mean, right. They'll probably go to a realtor, somebody who's done it 4,000 times. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right on. So let's talk about the motivated buyers. I mean, we all like these guys, right? I mean, their home just went under contract 2 days ago and they've got 3 days to find their replacement, or they might lose that contract. Or maybe they're a relocation buyer and their employer flew them in just for the weekend. And man, they got to go until they find the right home because they have to be on a plane Sunday night. So let me ask, do you think that they're going to go out, again, all on their own, clicking through FSBO.com or Craigslist or driving through neighborhoods to look at one at a time? Or do you think they might go to a realtor, somebody who can show them 30, 40 houses a day if need be until they find the right home?
They'd probably go to a realtor so there's more access.
No doubt. So let's talk about the investors. Now, I've attended investor seminars where they actually teach investors how to prey upon for sale by owners. They'll ask you questions like, well, what if I could close by the end of the month? Will you come down on your price? Or what if I paid all cash? How low would you go? Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about looky-loos. Now, I don't want them, you don't want them, right? They can't afford to buy a house, yet for some crazy reason, they love looking at homes. They're going to say things to you like, oh yeah, I really like your house. Let me sleep on it and I'll call you tomorrow, and you never hear from them. So out of these 4 different types of buyers, you know, Kevin, let's be honest, there's really only one that buys for sale by owners, and that's the investor. And yes, investors are great, yet they want to buy your home for 10 cents on the dollar, right? For example, like if you went into a jewelry store and you wanted to buy a watch, and you see it there in the glass case, it's never been worn, it's still in the box, it's got the price tag right on the watch. Let me ask, how much would you expect to pay for that watch?
If I was in a store?
Yeah.
I mean, it would probably, I'd pay retail.
Yeah, no doubt. Now let's take that same watch though. Never been out of the box. You got it tilted open, right, so people can see it. It's got the price tag on it. And you took that watch and you put it in a garage sale. How much would you expect to fetch for that watch?
A lot less.
A lot less. See, anytime we buy direct from an owner, we just expect bargain prices. So this is why the National Association of Realtors states that for sale by owners get on average 17% less than those that list with a real estate agent. And by the way, Kevin, are you familiar with what I do to get homes sold for top dollar?
No, I've seen a couple of ads, but tell me.
Fantastic. See, here's what we just did. We took that drop by of a for sale by owner. We took them through, and I'm sure you could sense and follow along with the psychology of the sale, right? From a positive present to a negative present to a negative future, then by citing the NAR statistics. So in essence, we're causing the for sale by owner to think, ooh, maybe my current course of action is not going to get me what I want. And then we offer a solution, which is a very simple close, right? Are you familiar with what I do to get homes sold in a short amount of time and for top dollar, right? So go for it.
Question is, you went through that process after the appointment was set. Do you ever do that process on the phone before the appointment's set?
I find that it's so much more effective face-to-face. Okay. So much more effective. There's a barrier that's eliminated when you're face-to-face. See, a telephone call, I can be a total jerk to you and I have no negative repercussions. And most people deep down are good human beings, right? They don't want to be rude to you. So when you're face-to-face, it pulls the barriers down. So I'll just walk you through that real quick. Okay. So it's Single greatest advantage, script, right? That it was the explanation of the 4 different types of buyers to bring awareness to the fact that only investors really buy for sale by owners. The jewelry store watch script. Then we shared the NAR statistics to move them to that negative future mindset. And then it was a very simple progression into the close. Yes?
Yep, it was.
All right. So next, I want to just kind of tackle some of these 9 common buyer objections. I want to give you guys, again, humbly, some rebuttals, some scripting to help you get beyond these 9 common objections. So the first one is, and we hear this every day in this business, don't we? Well, let me talk to my spouse and I'll call you back. Kevin, let me ask, if you just let them go, are they ever going to call you?
Probably not.
No.
It's a long conversation with their spouse. There's many conversations that have been going on for like years now. I've never heard back.
So the bottom line is, if we let them off the phone, we're not going to hear back from them. And if you just happen to have their phone number, you're going to be stuck in the follow-up game forever and ever and ever, right?
Right.
So my input game. You can't lose what you don't already have. You might as well go for it, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to understand what they're doing. See, what they're doing is they're playing a game with us. It's called good guy, bad guy. So I'm the good guy. It's my spouse that's the bad guy, right? And I'm going to blame my spouse because I'm the good guy. So when they say, let me talk with my spouse and I'll call you back, you say, well, that's fantastic. And let me ask, if it's okay with your spouse to meet with me, is it okay with you? Now remember, you're the good guy. So the answer is always going to be what?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do then. Let's simply pencil in a time that you think is going to work for your spouse. I'll call you the day before to confirm. If it works, fantastic. If not, we'll just simply reschedule the appointment. So tell me, when do you think is the best time for you, your spouse, and I to meet? Is it
let's go with 6 o'clock on Thursday.
Perfect. Yeah. So again, you can't lose what you don't already have. Your job is to handle the objection, to rebuttal that objection, and then ask again for the order, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I only work with the listing agent. How often do you hear this one, Kevin?
All the time.
No doubt. So what do you think they're trying to do here?
Avoid work. Like they just want to get off. To me, it's like they either want to get off the phone or they feel like they have an advantage by working with a listing agent.
And what do you suppose that advantage might be? Let's get inside their mind just for a moment.
The advantage is they're going to get the property. You know, in our market, in many markets, it's ultra competitive. So they're going to beat out the competition. They may get a better price because they feel the listing agent's going to make, money. They're going to double in the transaction and they'll have an advantage by working with the listing agent.
Right. So let's think through the psychology of the sale to get them to change their mind. So positive present to positive future, that doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Positive present to negative present, well, that does work, right? That's going to change their mind.
Right.
So to me, I would agree with them. I would acknowledge that and isolate the objection. For example, other than just wanting to work with the listing agent, is there any other reason you wouldn't work with me to allow me to find your house? No, that's really the only reason. I only work with the listing agent, right?
Yeah.
So now I've backed you into the corner. Now I can handle the objection. Say, well, that's fantastic. And do you mind if I just share with you what terrifies me about that?
Sure.
See, most people think if they go direct to the listing agent that they might be able to save money, that they might be able to get even a rebate of the commission, like 1%. Is that the case here?
It's part of the reason why, yes.
Gotcha. Well, allow me just to share what scares me about that process. See, the listing agent and the seller, they collectively determine the price tag that they're going to put on this home. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
And let me tell you that is not always an accurate process. It's very subjective. Mm-hmm. And you may identify a home where the listing agent will go ahead and rebate 1% of the list commission. However, since the listing agent suggested that price to the seller, do you think the listing agent is going to pull the comparable sales that justifies a higher price or a lower price?
Right. It worked. They had the relationship with the seller, so naturally they would look after the seller's interests.
Right. So Kevin, if you got a 1% rebate on a home that's overpriced by 5%, how much money did you save?
Not a lot.
Kevin, what you need is a gatekeeper. You need somebody that's going to look after your money like I have to look after my own money, a bulldog in essence, who's going to negotiate for you and get you the best price, because that is what you want, right, Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt about it. So tell me, when is the best time we can get together? I want to share with you 9 proven negotiating strategies that will help you get the best price on the home that you purchase. Plus, I'm going to share with you a list of off-market listings that we realtors call pocket listings, meaning nobody else knows about them, yet you can buy them without any competition. And that is what you want, right?
Yeah, but let me talk to my spouse and I'll call you back.
No, and that's exactly what happens, right? Yet your job as a realtor is to reposture and ask again. And ask again and ask again. Remember, 60% of buyers say no the 4th time you ask, or they say yes, the 5th time you ask, right? So just reposture and ask again. You can't lose what you don't already have, and you don't want to be like that hamster on the hamster wheel, just stuck in the follow-up game, right? That's
Tristan, I have a question for you, Tristan, because you deal with a ton of buyers, and you're generating thousands of leads. And you get this a lot too. And I know your response, it's great. What do you like? Could you share what you usually say when they say, "Oh, I only want to work with the listing agent"?
I usually say, "Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I'd probably want to work with them too." So tell me, why do you want to work with them? And then I do exactly what Shon just did, but my approach is a little different, but we end up in the same spot.
Yeah.
We acknowledge it and then say, okay, why?
Yeah.
In a nice way, because as soon as you start saying, well, that's a stupid idea, right? You didn't go through Shon's progression here, which is the negative present, negative future, and back to the positive future. You just try to cut to the positive future and it won't work.
And I love how you broke it down for us, Shon, like how there's an actual process that you have to go through. Because a lot of us kind of just do it
without knowing.
You thought it through, which is, I mean, it's brilliant.
Dude, that's what Shon does. Every time we talk to him, he busts out like graphs and systems, and I'm just like going, "Oh my gosh!"
I know. I'm like, I'm taking notes here. It's just awesome that you've broken it down the way you have. It's brilliant.
I love it. So, guys, we're running short on time, and I apologize. I have too much content for our 1-hour webinar. I would like to pick up with these other of the 9 common buyer objections, as well as the common expired objections in a future webinar. And I've also given you, the 4 common listing appointment objections and a 5th as a bonus. Yet, guys, if you want the the expired listing objection handlers, as well as that lead in, what to say, how to say it, I want you to text tools to this phone number real quick. And Tristan, if you could type that into the chat section, buddy, I'd appreciate that. And you get a free download of expired listing scripts. You get for sale by owner listing scripts. There's some other things in there, like an open house system that is just a few tweaks that will help you 4x your open house production. I promise you.
Just sent it and just got it. Bam.
A beautiful thing. I love it. That's my friends over at callaction.co. You gotta hit him up. He's a good dude.
Yeah, Jesse.
Jesse, yes.
Call action.
And by the way, those of you that are serious about investigating coaching, and you're not, kidding yourself, that you see the value in aligning with somebody who's been there, done that, and experienced the things that you choose to experience, and also experience the things that you don't want to experience, in essence, help you avoid those common traps that realtors fall into as they look to scale their production and profit, then I want you to text strategy to that same phone number. Ultimately, what one of my consultants will do is reach out to you by phone. You can even self-schedule your own appointment based on your schedule there, or just text that to that, and you don't have to do a darn thing. One of my consultants will call you back. We'll get you on the schedule, walk you through a free complimentary business assessment call. We'll help you bring awareness to any gaps that exist in your current model, and we'll share with you the methodologies that will help you bridge those gaps quickly and effectively. And if you make the decision to engage in one-on-one coaching with us, we'll first make sure that you qualify. Second, we'll welcome you with open arms, and we will help you increase your production and your profit almost magically, guys. So I really appreciate the time. I do have another call that I've got to jump to. So with that said, Tristan, I will be in touch. Kevin, thank you for being here, both of you guys. You're rock stars.
Thanks, man. It was really fun.
I learned a ton. Thank you. Always great.
My pleasure, guys. Look forward to next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, Shon.